I do have a card from the suggestion box that I was going to do next. If I don't do the loving kindness phrases at the end of class out loud, am I doing it wrong? So if you've never been here at the end of class, we have these kind of very generic phrases where we try to anchor our intention to cultivate loving kindness and compassion. So question, if I don't say them out loud at the end of class, am I doing it wrong? Or is there a reason to say it out loud instead of just in your head? Okay, great question, two-parter. Thank you very much, whoever put it in there. The most important rule in this room forever is you're not doing it wrong. There's no way to do this wrong unless someone's on fire or bleeding or, you all seem tender-hearted, sensitive, well-behaved people. Cool, you're not doing it wrong. Even if you come in here and think about anything at all besides meditation. You come in here for an hour and a half and sit there and not meditate for 1 second, I will be perfectly happy. Welcome. Thank you for coming. You're doing it right. Especially if you're paying attention to what you're doing when you're doing it. So, getting that straight, no, you're not doing it wrong, however you do it or not. I want to attack the second part, or address the second part. Is there a reason to say it out loud instead of in your head? Let me come at it from the relational angle. Do you tell your partner you love them? And if you didn't, you wouldn't say, well, you know I love you, why would I ever say it to you? There's something relational that we're doing when we, specifically with loving kindness and compassion, when we vocalize those tender feelings, those wholesome intentions, those attitudes of heart. There's something really profoundly wholesome about saying those things out loud. Also, it's multimodal. And you know how like different people learn different modes? Like some people can read stereo instructions and it's clear as day. Some people need to see it modeled for them. Some people need pictograms or audio. By saying them out loud, you've tripled the number of modes that you've involved in this practice. So let's imagine you're just sitting there thinking it. So you're thinking it, you're feeling it. Maybe there's visualization even. So the visual cortex is activating a little bit. You're involving more of your brain. Now you say it. Now you're using your motor neurons. You're feeling all the nerve endings in your mouth move in accord with the words. And now you're hearing yourself say it. You've just gone from a purely mental event to a multi-factor, multi-sensory experience. This is just making it more and more robust. This is why there are temples. This is why there are practices. This is why, you don't just get a pamphlet in the mail, you're enlightened, you're welcome. It's like, if you've ever been to, a Buddhist temple or Zendo, stand up, sit down, bow here, bow there, walk there. We're trying to involve as much of our body and our mind and our senses in our practice as possible. Leave nothing behind. So, no, you are absolutely not doing it wrong. And it might feel really awkward to say something like, may all beings be happy. They didn't teach me to say that in school. They don't say that after the national anthem at baseball games. That's not something we talk a lot about in our culture, in our society. And a lot of people find it really awkward. One teacher I know hated loving kindness practice for years and years and years and years. This is some hippie bullshit. Hated it. And one day it just kind of clicked. And it wasn't like this Pollyanna, pie in the sky, pious, super happy, sunshine and rainbows. His life had gotten hard enough, had become enough of a pile of steaming, figure it out, to really get it. Life is hard. Life isn't just hard for me, it's hard for other people. May I be happy, may they be happy. And kind of grounded in the realness of what life could be, it opened up that door for him. So I'm not saying that's your case. And again, say it out loud, don't say it out loud. Say something different in your head. Say something different under your breath, like whatever. Finally, something magical happens with humans when we say things together. When we sing together, when we chant together, something happens neurologically. It's incredibly powerful. And it's shown in the lab every time they hook little bald people up in robes in the lab up with fMRIs or beep, 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 those things. Every single time you get a room full of people to say something together, to chant something together, and their general baseline of compassion, kindness, just goes through the roof. And their general baseline of self-absorption, selfishness, drops. So I think that's everything in that. So to recap, finally, however you do it's great. There's a lot of reasons to do it, and maybe it's a field of practice for you to look into why it feels weird for you. If you've ever been made by someone to say, I love you, whatever your name is, look in a mirror and say, I love you, and you're like, that's the worst thing ever. I'd rather pull out my own toenails. Why? Yes, sir.
By repeating phrases like that, it also helps to train your brain or to create new patterns through repetition. And with some things that you say it long enough, it comes out of your mouth at odd times and like, oh my God, it's sinking in.
This is a great point that raises that I completely neglected, which is these are well-respected technologies. This thing of saying something over and over again as a reflection, as an encapsulation of a deeply held value or even an aspirational value. It will take root in your brain maybe even before you believe it. So briefly, Sharon Salzburg, who is a well-known, huge fan of loving kindness and compassion, she was racked with self-loathing her whole life. This was her primary wound. And she, was a sincere meditation student, very diligent, and she went away to Burma to do a loving kindness retreat. 3 months of loving kindness practice. Hated every second of it. Just ground it out. I'm going to finish this. Nothing's going to stop me. And she came home and was like, I didn't change a damn thing. And that very day she came home from the airport, she dropped her favorite coffee mug and it shattered. And the first thing out of her mouth was, I love you. It was the opposite of how she had been trained by maybe her parents, accidentally, and certainly how she had been trained. May you be happy, Sharon. I love you, Sharon. It's okay, Sharon. Long before she had any kind of cognitive understanding that she had actually changed something.